This video is sponsored by Star Trek Fleet Command. Wait, planes actually exists? I always thought it was a stupid internet myth of a Cars sequel that never actually happened. Pixar never made an official planes movie. So excuse me for not making this video a year sooner. I literally scrapped this as a video prompt back then because I didn't realize it was real. Turns out, it's official and done by Disney. But not Pixar. No, instead, it's via Disneytoons Studios. Who's this? Another studio I have to keep track of now? Oh, that's pretty simple. They're the go-to for most dodgy sequels to all the major Disney movies. Return of Jafar, Brother Bear 2, Pocahontas 2, Lion King 2, basically all the twos. Though they also made the goldmine that is a Goofy movie and Stitch has a glitch? Man, I need to get more in the know. But beyond doing every Disney sequel to varying success, they once did a Pixar spin-off. My apologies to those that suggested this. Futaba Forever, Verminator, Spider-Bat, and Nair. That one's from 2 years ago. This is presumably the terrible Planes movie. But as a brief break from all this madness, one of the most beloved Star Trek franchises is now arriving in Star Trek Fleet Command. Play alongside huge themes like morality, war, and spirituality in the new in-game missions, available on iOS, Android, and Windows. This new arc will offer something for everyone with 3 new officers focused on ship survivability, new missions following the fan-favorite narrative of Deep Space Nine, and Alliance starbases, which are the physical embodiment of an alliance's strength, which push members to work together for shared progression and mutual benefits as they navigate inter-alliance diplomacy, conflict, and all-out war. It's a new social feature to enhance collaboration. Players with an alliance will now be able to work together and build a starbase. By contributing to an Alliance starbase, an Alliance can take over new system resources, celestial objects, in order to upgrade the base to provide new buffs to their Alliance and to themselves individually. All Alliance members will have a chance to connect and work to keep, maintain, and defend their base from armadas. Welcome the Deep Space Nine crew, Epic Cisco, Rare Kira, and Rare Miles O'Brien. The crew's primary focus will be on ship survivability over damage. 2 officers will be useful in any armada, and 1 will only be useful against Alliance starbase armadas. So use the link in my description to get all of this in Star Trek Fleet Command.
Yep, this is definitely unofficial.
Even for 2013, isn't it a little late for just outright rock music in your face? Anyway, we've got these 2 official fighter jets doing their runs at training, talking about our super protagonist.
Is he really as good as they say he is? No.
Oh.
Better.
And here he is, just a dinky little flyplane, able to outspeed even fighter jet, flaring around them and all. Oh, never mind, it was just his imagination. Your classic power fantasy. Hey, wait a minute. Is the base shaped like an airplane? So in the Cars universe, terraforming is different around the globes depending on the population around it? First car mountains and now plain landscapes? Huh.
I am more than just a crop duster.
So while Cars was all about a city racer having to learn the rural ways, this is about a rural crop duster plane hoping to one day be a racer, with all the standard beats that come with it.
I mean, why would you want to give up crop dusting? Blue skies, no air traffic,
as well as some off choices for humor.
and that tangy scent of fighter mini mulch. Just like Mama used to spray.
Oh boy, this definitely ain't no Pixar script. Though what is the tying thread for this movie is one member of the team who co-wrote and executive produced this movie, everyone's favorite Pixar stain and chief creative officer at the time, John Lasseter. Oh, great. But now we know. So moving on, we now get to meet an actual car in our Planes movie. Hey, shouldn't that be illegal? His name's Chug, the fuel tank truck. He has some opinions about types of fuel, thinking the new stuff is stupid, how environmentally aware, but our protagonist spreads pesticides, so maybe that's not a surprise. But he likes corn fuel the best.
Corn. It gives you gas.
Yeah, eat your heart out, schmo yo-ho. But moving on from our second fart joke in under 3 minutes, Chug's secondary passion is in crewmating for plane racing, readying up to train Dusty Crop Hopper for the races.
You mean aileron?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
I'll get him next time. It's not a gunshot as much as it fully looks like it.
You've worn out your main oil seal.
Oh, that makes sense. And so it's an introductory scene to our engineer Dottie, who can immediately spot Dusty's attempts at pushing his body to race.
Dusty, you're not built to race. You're built to dust crops.
Man, is this gonna be another movie with the underbelly message kind of being about disabilities? Because it's kind of tragic sounding to be born into the wrong body in the Planes universe, you know? Don't count on it. As Dottie continues to kick Dusty down on even thinking about it.
Turbine failure.
Oh no, I'm going down! Oh my gosh,
What?
the orphanage!
Oof, Dottie's a little full on, but it doesn't deter the boys who are ecstatic for the Wings Around the World races while just watching the top 10 crashes on TV.
Whoa, oh,
Not good.
how does that happen?
In the logic of the Planes world, isn't this essentially like watching Live Leak? Like, they are practically watching footage of their own people dying, especially if it's the best of all time.
Oh, man.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Jesus Christ, this world is brutal! But with Chug getting nervous, we come to ask a veteran plane for help, Skipper.
I heard you shot down 50 planes.
You looking to be number 51?
Oof. You know, this character is one big Easter egg. Turns out we've seen him before in Cars Toons, another spin-off miniseries to Cars. Specifically, Air Mater, where Mater talks about how he learned how to fly through this Skipper dude.
I'm Skipper.
Can you learn me how to fly?
But, you're a tow truck.
He's suddenly a lot friendlier in the Cars universe. Anyway, after failing to convince him, Dusty gets the door slammed in his face. But how did he shut the door? Now we're here at the qualifiers.
I don't know how you talked me into coming to this.
Yeah, I don't either. You make no sense being here. It's a simple obstacle course. Fly between the pylons normally or vertically. Everyone else has had their go, with one having a character trait.
Man, that's nasty.
And at the end, it's Dusty's turn.
Now, you know you built for speed, not speed.
Nice of you to take the day off, just to lose.
How do you think it's gonna go when everyone is literally built to be as aerodynamic as possible against Dusty's crop design here?
Oh, yes, what a finish. Now, that's what you call flying. Way to go, Dustmeister.
He was 10 milliseconds slower than the guy we saw near the beginning. The proper professional. Milliseconds. I mean, go off, achieve your dreams, but I guess forget physics along the way. That being said, this whole racing sequence is actually really good and dynamic. The soundtrack in the background is properly putting some work in to make you feel motivated for planes, and the voice acting is stellar throughout. Not to mention the cinematography splits into panels from multiple angles on the main event. It's actually really surprisingly good. There's a little bit of that Cars secret formula in there somewhere, but Dusty places 6th. It's just not enough, and so he mopes.
Oh shit, there's a plane heading for our house!
Seriously, why does this look like a sad scene from Interstellar or something? But of course, the plot can't actually stick around as just this, though maybe I'd want to see a slice of life in a fantasy land one day. As this forklift arrives with some news.
Strut Jetstream? Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Movies like this always like to waste your time, don't they? It's always the same joke with varying degrees of actually successful comedy. But you can't miss every time.
Actually pronounced Dusty Crop Hopper.
This guy and his staring is probably a highlight so far. I mean, they use it again to make another damn compost joke, but
Oh, yeah, smell that? It's like daffodils and...
I'm willing to allow it. Anyway, Dusty's qualified since our main guy was apparently blood doping, but with fuel. And just like that, this guy disappears, and the whole town of unestablished characters cheers Dusty on. And to add on to that, Skipper makes his reappearance, telling him to quit.
You'll end up a smoking hole on the side of a mountain with your parts spread over 5 countries.
I mean, Christ, this is some disgustingly graphic imagery we're going with here. I just can't fathom how much of a leap we've gotten just because we're suddenly in the air now. Why do I want a mature Cars movie?
I've flown thousands of miles, and I've never been anywhere.
Wow, that's a proper motivation for the old crop duster. But I mean, you could just travel. Is there a cost of living crisis in the Planes universe? Did they pay for petrol? But it's enough for Skipper.
You were built to fight, and look what you did.
Wait, so does that mean there were Nazi planes in the past? Training time! It's all good doing the normal hops over trees and grazing grass, but here's the life bro tip that'll disregard the advantages of a super plane built for racing.
Then look up. See those clouds? The highway in the sky. Tailwinds like nothing you've ever flown.
Okay, I guess I can get behind that then, instead of being the broken record about how aerodynamic it isn't for a crop duster's plane's body to compete successfully in a race. Except...
No! He's off the pitch! Go down!
he's a plane, and he's scared of heights. Oh, Jesus Chrysler.
During the attack of Tahunga Harbor, why even the P-38s had trouble at high altitudes.
I'm sorry. Are we directly going there? I know there's already enough commentary about the tiny bird planes in France, or the car Pope confirming that car Jesus was crucified, but the attack on Tahunga Harbor? P-38s? I looked into it. Tahunga isn't real, but P-38s were involved around Pearl Harbor. My god, they're just mentioning it outright at this point. So while you'd imagine Mr. Veteran over here would quickly be about turning back to his shelter, telling Dusty to just quit, turns out they're just gonna do low altitude training instead. First, racing the shadow of another plane and failing immediately.
We can increase power, or we can decrease drag.
Alright, so now they're actively changing somewhat the anatomy of the old crop duster. Okay, this is sounding more plausible. Never considered the spray line thing to be a plane's ghoulies, but apparently they are. Someone write that down. After a mini montage of learning techniques and a few engine operations, we're starting to make some progress.
Altitude for airspeed.
Gravity is your ally.
The laws of physics govern speed. Use your radial G. Let gravity work for you.
Don't forget to tighten those lamp busters and never bring a cat to a dogfight.
And with the end of our montage, we've had a success.
He's ready.
And so, Dusty makes his way over to New York, with only a minor bump along the way.
Get off the runway!
Before, of course, being a fish out of water. Everyone bumping about everywhere.
The pit? Oh yeah, that's easy. You want to go down this way toward the...
It's him.
And so, Dusty joins up with all the rest of the planes from around the world.
Look, I don't know how things work in the backwater from which you hail, matey, but this is
Oh, it's him.
And probably not too far off from his actual opinions of Americans IRL.
And it's because these people are operating at a very, very low level of mental health.
We get a couple more introductions. Here's an obvious romantic interest.
Look at that propeller.
Or maybe other type of interest. Here's Ripslinger from earlier, being about as you'd expect. And then this guy.
You have never heard of the great El Chupacabra?
Known for indoor racing and clearly the only chance Dusty has for a friend.
The scene below me is absolutely electric.
Oof. Look at Blimp Guy over here. Dude's looking more like a Coco Melon character than a Cars character. I mean, I get how it's the same visual engine behind it all, but boy, it does not translate all that well onto a blimp. And so we're at the start of a very long race, about an hour according to the runtime.
Don't let anything distract you.
What is she flapping, anatomically? One more plane to add to our collection, Rochelle, the Canadian rally champion. Got all that? British John Cleese, douchey Ripslinger, Ishani from India, Chupacabra, he's hard to miss, and of course Dusty. Let the races begin.
And we are underway!
And as we've well established from Dusty's fear of heights, he's gonna lowball it the whole time. Boy, it sure is boring to watch this race take place in real time, huh? But eventually, Dusty makes it through the icy skies of Iceland, where everyone else has been warming up for a while. There was no serious strategy from Dusty for this whole first 3,000-kilometer leg. This guy just went through all that training, learning all about his G radials, and then just had the gall to fly straight and low all day. I mean, it's hilarious how stupid he is. My vote's on Chupacabra, doofy and actually functional.
Why don't you go plow yourself, El Chutoy?
Maybe a little too functional. This movie is seriously playing both cards right now. All in on the fart jokes for kids, and a little uncomfortably comfortable with the sexual hints for adults. And so, through a radio back home, Dusty is told he needs to fly a little higher to avoid growing ice, and it's all about agility through this next obstacle course.
It's not speed that wins races, it's skill.
Shame you've got your eggs in the basket of Mr. Flying Straight and nothing else, Skipper. Welcome to the mid-roll point. If you're new, consider subscribing or become a member for early access and behind the scenes. Optional, but only 99p. And here we are, it's those pylons again. How's Dusty gonna do? I don't know, we barely see him today. It's all about John Cleese.
Mayday! Mayday!
And just like that, the old British bulldog is dead. Except remember that part at the very end of Cars 1 where Lightning finally has a revelation and chooses to come last so that he can save another member of the race? Well, apparently Dusty has already seen this film, as he does exactly that. When no one else came by Cleese's side as he plummeted blind, Dusty swoops down to follow and guide him forwards to a safe landing.
Bulldog, apply your left aileron. Side roll right. Good.
And it all works. You know, funnily enough, the point of Planes was to try to avoid just doing another Cars. Kinda tough considering this didn't need to be a racing movie. It could have been something else Planes related, you know? Apparently there was even conscious efforts that when ideas were pitched that were a little too close to the sun, they were rejected. But racing still got in there. And so did the final story beat. Interesting.
Thanks for your help, matey. Oh, I couldn't have done it without you.
Did the writers at Disneytoons Studio think British spoke like pirates? We don't really say matey, but Bulldog does all the time. Cleese really didn't have the heart to tell them we mostly just say mate.
Where I come from, if you see someone falling from the sky...
Yes, but this is a competition.
When does that ever happen in your stinky crop field? You just accidentally had a lie-in one morning and you look out your window to just see... So now it's a night over in Germany, where petrol is alcohol, and there's this hybrid character suddenly.
My name is Franz, and I am a huge fan.
In the air, I am in charge.
Imagine if this movie's actually about the toxicity of racing and how it's slowly distorting Dusty away from who he truly is. First they tinker with his engine, then they command him to heights he cannot comfortably stomach, and now they're just neutering him. What a message that would be.
So, what do you think?
And it's done. So just like that, Dusty is now steamrolling the competition. They really don't lean on it much somehow. It's a bunch of pretty quick cutaways as the guy edges his way ahead of each of the back-end planes, minus the ones that are randomly exploding in the sky. And with Dusty rising through the ranks to 8th place, he's getting all the media attention now.
So how can a crop duster outfly you?
Wait, what?
There he is! Dusty!
After all, Dusty has a proper underdog story going on now. And Ripslinger, of course, isn't happy that he's getting all the attention. Our antagonist is rising up. Oh, also with Skipper hearing of Dusty's success, only now is he motivated to actually support the guy in person. Not entirely sure why he didn't feel like coming at any sooner point, but whatever. But the old vet just isn't able to do it. Genuinely kind of tragic, shot down in the moonlight with just a sad note on the end that...
It's probably not a good night for flying, anyway.
And so it's the next day and another leg for Dusty.
What if a guy wanted to fly through the mountains instead of over them?
Bad idea.
Are you kidding me? Does Dusty want to die? He seems to be making every choice that'll guarantee that spreading his guts across some mountainside is his final moment. Every night this guy must dream for the cold embrace of death. He's told not to, just to fly higher. That old argument again. I mean, it's a pretty simple premise, and they're just repeating themselves every leg break at this point. It's just more of the same. Speaking of, El Chupacabra is continuing to hit on the Canadian plane that is clearly not interested.
Any space, huh?
You can only pretend for so long.
Yeesh. This is all your fault. But now there's an opportunity for the planes to actually do some talking. We have Ishani coming up to Dusty.
I wanted to compliment you on your success, Dusty.
Why does she talk like that? Why does this make me feel uncomfortable? And then they go on a date. Is this really the best idea in the middle of a race? I mean, I know it's break time, but surely this is at risk of doing some damage from more overworking. I doubt people go off on jogs in between marathons, do they? But it's romance time, and an excuse to see the Taj Mahal. Also, you can't seriously be telling me that these two are aerodynamically equal. Look at their two designs. And also, they're dirtying the waters again with strange Cars universe logic as they swoop through a swarm of seagulls that are all literally planes. But the actual planes aren't birds, right? But tractors are animals because... But anyway, the true purpose of this date comes out.
You like to fly low, don't you? Railroad tracks through a valley in the mountains, so you can still fly low?
Thanks, Ishani.
So what do you think Death Wish Dusty is gonna do over the Himalayas? Follow the advice of everyone around him, or confirmation bias into his own incredibly reckless and illogical ways? And then pretty much immediately we come to a hurdle, a tunnel, to which Dusty instantly pulls up, freaks out, and quits. It's all a very quick turnaround on this story beat that really feels like it's cutting corners, but it's character development time.
No.
I thought that'd be the time where Dusty breaks his fear, but instead, it's recklessly driving into the train tunnel. Actually pretty decent for a set piece to play with, until you know what to expect appears at the other end. He died. Rest in peace to that poor train that was caught as collateral damage. Of course, in this comatose reality of whatever's going on in Dusty's brain, he reaches his destination and long before anyone else has even arrived.
No one else is here yet. You're in first place.
Dusty is on the up and up. But of course, now he needs to confront Ishani over what was clearly a trap.
You set me up.
Look, I didn't ever want to hurt you.
Why?
She's in cahoots with Ripslinger.
You could have got me killed out there today.
I really thought that you'd just turn around.
And that's all we get to learn. Turns out the back propeller is a Ripslinger exclusive, and we move on from there. Dusty now becoming an icon for the working class as all eyes are on him, and his friends will be joining him in Mexico. And then there's Chupacabra, still pining over this same poor lady, serenading in the most idiotic of ways.
No, 1,000 no's.
Until, for some whatever reason, Dusty is on his side and wants to assist, and so he sets up a different serenade that's still the same song, but slower this time. You can't make this up.
I'm just in love, my cheek, sing next to you.
I prefer this version. Let's forget the whole mini musical and 180 the Canadian plane actually does in this movie.
What happened to you?
That song. It flipped the switch.
Come here.
Because this always makes me feel uncomfortable. And we're off! It's all ocean from here, and with Ripslinger being our clear antagonist, we have his little minions coming in clutch for him with...
My antenna!
An actual assassination attempt.
Oh no!
Okay, well that's more like your own fault there, Dusty. And so clearly, with no clear path assistance and a probable death, it's fair to say this race is lost. Dusty goes so far off course, he's intercepted by the US Navy, and after briefly being threatened, he's set to land on the USS Fleisenhauer. Only to discover that Skipper lied about his past missions as one of the wrenches in all of his war stories. How fitting that Dusty ended up in the exact place where he'd find a wrench's wall of fame, huh?
You gotta get out of there. You're gonna have to fly high.
Is it true?
It's true.
Oh, so I guess that's that then.
I only flew one mission.
Dusty's entire reality seems to be breaking around him from when he started. His mentor is a fraud, he's lost his sprayer, his insides are all swished about, and a love interest is somewhat evil. Oof. Should have stayed back with the fertilizer.
Just like Mama used to spray.
Now he's got a steamroll out of there, with the added boost from the aircraft carrier system. Huh, nice. Dusty now has to fly high if he wants to survive the storm at all.
Headwind's good. Pressure's good.
Thanks, Sonic! Oh, wait, what? I meant it just because this guy's a sound-alike, but actually, Roger Craig Smith is cast in this movie. He's Ripslinger, so this probably is Sonic filling in a smaller role, too. Huh.
Dusty was a nice guy. We're all gonna miss him.
Oh yeah, I can hear it. And as El Chupacabra and Ishani shame Ripslinger's personality, Dusty fights the storm.
Mayday, mayday, mayday!
So like, he's dead, right? There are several segments of him fully submerged underwater. Even if he's pulled out, isn't he just gonna be a spluttering mess after this? Oh, here he is being pulled out. That's a cool shot for it. And his body is wrecked.
Broken wing ribs, twisted gear, bent prop. It's over.
Hold on, did she say wing ribs? Oh, okay, that's a real thing. I seriously thought they were just about to start inventing body parts to keep up with the anatomy thing. But yes, while the race is seemingly doomed for Dusty, and he'll have to live with several bodily injuries, surprising no one, he doesn't care, just because he was lied to.
One mission. So much for Volo Pro Veritas.
And why would Skipper lie about such a thing? It's time for a good old-fashioned flashback.
Get out of there!
Oh my god! Bloody hell! Holy shit!
Keep your distance.
They're showing it! They're actually showing brutal Air Force fiery death! Yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense for why Skipper didn't do any more missions anymore. His whole squadron of rookies were killed under him, and he's too traumatized to fly. Dusty is his first successful rookie, if you can call this a success. And so the very next day, while Dusty mopes in despair, El Chupacabra shows up with his own gift of wings, which would kind of be a nice wholesome friendship moment if his entire reasoning isn't because Dusty helped him get laid with a plane that typically wasn't interested.
You helped me with my pursuits of the heart. Now we are here to help you.
You know, it sure is easy for a plane if every limb you break could just be a replacement away from full functionality again, you know? The Canadian offers some pipes. John Cleese appears with a sat-nav. Can we have something for the limp, please? Oh, and even a bunch of unnamed racer planes contribute. Was not expecting that. Hopefully one of these is a bit more practical. And by the end, Dusty has become an entirely new plane. This single goal of his really stripping him of his entire existence. What would happen if you put all of his old parts together? Has the Cars universe ever touched on the ship of Theseus? And to finish it off, Ishani reappears to give out her super slicer back propeller as well.
This one didn't really suit me, but I think you will have a lot better luck with it.
Yeah, you're a sellout, aren't you, Dusty?
And now, here we are on the final day. Ripslinger never comments on his propeller being used. Instead, we just get...
You're afraid of getting beat by a crop duster.
Wow, you really showed him, Dusty. And we're off for the final time, Mexico to New York. And though Dusty's got whole new parts to bolster his speed, he's also still not doing anything tactical to gain any speed. It's still mostly in one direction, no G-radials or anything. But he's making his way up the list now, because reasons? If it's because he's upgraded now, then how come he was able to overcome them before? That was hypocritical. Plus, they expressly mentioned that air is thinner up top, so you move faster. So this is still just so illogical and against the laws of physics, everything Dusty is doing. He really must be dead from that train crash earlier.
Okay, we're out of camera range. You know what to do.
So the trio at the top go for another assassination attempt, only for one more surprise ex machina.
Skipper? Dusty, hold on! Whoa!
Skipper's in the air and in the murdering mood again. So at this point, the idea of being just a race just goes out of the window as the four play cat and mouse against this arena for a little while. Not entirely sure what the plan is since they're only really chasing the guy at this point. They don't have guns. But after some back and forth, we finally have Dusty shaking the minion twins, Ned and Zed, off with... Yeah! I guess if your enemy is breaking rules to assassinate you, it's all free game for a third party to attempt to intervene. But you'd think there'd be more precautions for this kind of thing in a global event like this, no? Anyway, it's Skipper versus Ripslinger.
Say hello to the Warsaw Windmill. Look, you're crazy!
Oh, never mind. He lived to scuff Skipper in the tail. And Dusty heads off for the final leg. With Dusty trailing behind and struggling to keep up, he remembers the original advice.
Tailwinds like nothing you've ever flown.
Who'd have thought the piece of advice Dusty kept ignoring, fly higher, was the answer? Though at the same time, how does the 3 times world champion of this race not know this to do it himself?
Look down, don't look down, don't look down. Ugh.
Either way, he does it. And it's so fun, he has time to play around in it, apparently. And so, with that final revelation, it's time to finish up this race in New York again. Ripslinger now in the role of low to the ground, and Dusty...
Time to eat my dust!
What, do you think something would happen here? I'd never be so crude. Although the towers are missing in this movie. I don't even want to comprehend all the ramifications that could mean. And as Ripslinger prepares his final pose, finally, Dusty uses his G-radial and wins the race, of course.
He's done it! He's done it!
And everyone cheers. So there isn't a point system? It's just who can race that last bit? Mexico to New York the fastest who wins? It seems like the rest of this race is a waste of time considering you get ample breaks in between. Anyway, everyone gives out their 2 cents, even the old hybrid fan.
All of us who want to do more than just what we were built for.
Ah, what a nice message. None of them will be able to fly though. The crop duster is still a plane after all. And as Ripslinger is sent away in sewage, it's a thing that happened, Dusty catches one last glimpse of... You know, this movie has that same strange split. It's clear the actors they cast are pretty good. I mean, it is Sonic and John Cleese, and the animation's pretty nice. Made on a $50 million budget, but the writing really lets this movie down. It clearly feels like a direct-to-video movie, Because it was, and they decided to release it theatrically last minute. I can see this as just a burner piece of entertainment you watch on a small TV at home, you know? Because as much as it was trying not to be Cars, it sure is just another racing movie with many of the same tropes, and a few less graceful ones added on top. The humor as well was not good. I don't remember liking any of it apart from the stairs. And that's a plus for the animators anyway. But nevertheless, this spin-off turned $50 million into $239 million overnight. Wow. And it turns out they made a sequel 1 year later, so I guess our ride's not done here yet. And there was a third one set to be in space? I gotta look into this some more. For now, this was a strange and unofficial experience from within the Cars universe. This was The Terrible Planes. My name's been Daz. You didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.